Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Before I start, as you can tell, my voice is actually getting worse, not better. My apologies, but I couldn't not make this video. I'm going to struggle through it because it's such a great fight and such a great matchup that you guys, maybe some of you aren't aware of it, you should be. As boxing fans, you should be watching this fight because it's going to be, I think it will be a great fight. Now, I know a lot of people have said, yeah, but in the past you've predicted this would be a great fight and it's been rubbish. And you're absolutely right. I've got it wrong sometimes. But does anyone seriously think that Nick Ball against ISAAC DOGBE, which headlines the Magnificent Queensberry Show in Manchester on Saturday, is going to be a bad fight? If you do, then I'd say you were rather pessimistic, although nothing's impossible, of course. So, let's go through the fighters' resumes and talk about their styles and what we think is going to happen in this fight. Nick Ball is from Liverpool. He's 5'2" tall, featherweight, a little stocky fireball. Is that his nickname? Nick Fireball? Because it damn well should be, if it ain't. He's 18 wins with 11 KOs, no draws and no defeats. And his coming out party, if you like, was against Isaac Lowe, who was only beaten once previously. Isaac came in with 21 wins, 1 defeat and 3 draws. That was on the undercard of Fury versus Dillian Whyte. And Isaac was expected to deal with Nick, probably on points, because Nick at the time wasn't regarded as being a particularly big banger. He was a guy who'd been the distance a fair bit. Well, he absolutely smashed Isaac to bits. He's got another Isaac on Saturday, of course. But Isaac Lowe got stopped in 6 rounds. He'd been on the floor. That was for the WBC silver featherweight title, which was vacant. What a surprise. And he's then defended that WBC silver title 3 times. And I think I'm right in saying that the ISAAC DOGBE fight will be the 4th occasion, but I looked on BoxRec and it wasn't listed as being for the title. But anyway, the point is that Nick has worked his way into the WBC rankings, and to now jump in with DOGBE, that is definitely a jump up, because even though, he faced Nathaniel Kakololo from, I think he's from Gambia or Namibia, who had a very glossy record, got stopped in 12 rounds and unfortunately was put into a medically induced coma afterwards. I think he's okay, but his career's over now, Nathaniel. That was a tough old scrap, but Nick got to him in the end, stopped him in the 12th. He then beat a Mexican fella. Now, we know about unknown Mexicans coming over to Britain and upsetting the apple cart. No such thing when Jesus Ramirez Rubio came over, because Nick did him in a round, just smashed right through him. I think he was on the floor about 2 or 3 times, Jesus was. So that was the second defence, and the third defence was against a guy called Lamati, who at the time was undefeated, and that was 21 wins, no draws, and 21 wins, no defeats, and a draw. Ledumo Lamati came in, and again, Nick carried his power and his pressure late and stopped Lamati in the 12th round. So in the last, those 3 defences he's made of the WBC silver title, 2 of them, he stopped the guy in the last round, and the other guy, he stopped in the first round. Nick Ball carries his, like I say, his pressure and his power late. He's got a fantastic engine. He actually, even though he's short, he's 5'2", he actually does what Mike Tyson and a few other shorter fighters like Dwight Muhammad Cowie used to do, and makes that an advantage by crouching low. He's very, very aggressive. Very often he'll come straight in the front door. There might be a bit of bobbing and weaving, but the moment he gets into range, he will fire punches, salvos, with both hands. Isn't like he relies on power from one hand. He can be hit, there's no doubt about that, but the sheer pressure that he puts on you, that water on rock erosion of the opposition, even if the opposition is very durable, like Kakalolo or Lamati, eventually he will get you out of there. And in fact, his last five fights have all been stoppages. Now, we know about ISAAC DOGBE, because ISAAC DOGBE is a former WBO super bantamweight champion. He's 29 years old. I thought he was older, but no, he's 29 years old. He's got a lot of miles on the clock for a 29-year-old by modern day standards. He's 5'4", so a couple of inches taller than Nick Ball. Originally from Ghana. He's based in Tampa, Florida, although he has been based in Britain as well. He won the title in something of an upset against Jesse Magdaleno. That was in 2018, so about 5 years. He won the title when he was quite young, only 24 years old. Stopped him in 11 rounds, having been on the floor in the first round. And he put Magdaleno down in the 5th, and then in the 11th, which was the round that he stopped him. Magdaleno at the time was 25 wins, no draws and no defeats. So undefeated, and was much fancied to beat the unheralded DOGBE. Didn't happen that way. Then ISAAC made a defence, but lost his title, his WBO Super Bantam title, to Emmanuel Navarrete. That was on points, and we know how good Navarrete is, because since then he's absolutely flown. He's won titles in 3 weight divisions now, and has got his own defence of his super featherweight, WBO super featherweight title coming up. But he beat ISAAC DOGBE on points. They had a rematch, and in fact Navarrete went a stage further and stopped ISAAC in the 12th and final round of their fight. That was also in 2018. So, it was a jam-packed 2018 for ISAAC DOGBE. In actual fact, he fought, let me just get this right now, he fought 4 times in 2018. Winning and losing the title. And then it's actually the second Navarrete fight was in 2019. So that's a lot of mileage, again, in modern day terms, for a fighter in such a short space of time. But despite those 2 losses, he came back. He stopped Chris Avalos in 8 rounds. That was an 8-rounder. Chris was past his best. He won a majority decision over Adam Lopez, who's not a bad little fighter. He won a majority decision over Christopher Diaz, and he was 26-3, I think, at the time. And then he won a split decision over Joet Gonzalez, who again is a very good, world-class fighter. At the very least, you'd call him a world-class gatekeeper type. And then earlier this year, in April, he fought Ribisi Ramirez. This is his only fight of the year so far. And he lost a unanimous decision, wide unanimous decision. But to be honest with you, there's no shame in that, because Ribisi Ramirez is beginning to really, fulfill his potential, shall we say. He lost his debut, Ribisi did, avenged it later on, and now he's flying. That was for the WBO featherweight title. Now, how's this going to go? Nick Ball versus ISAAC DOGBE. ISAAC has been on the floor a few times, and Nick, as we know, as we just said, can start fast or he can start slow. Doesn't really matter. He will eventually get his engine running pretty damn quick. I think Nick will come forward, will start fast. I think ISAAC, although he's a pressure fighter as well, he will probably be on the back foot, not to say he's running. But as an orthodox fighter, are they both orthodox? Yeah, they're both orthodox fighters. I see Nick probably racking up the early rounds and after about 4 or 5 rounds, I see Nick crouching low, getting in close, having the first say in the exchanges, and probably the last one as well. But I don't see ISAAC DOGBE necessarily, back in, maybe on the back foot, but not running, certainly not running. And I don't see him simply looking to survive. I see him firing his punches, threading his punches through Nick's attacks. When Nick is not moving his hands, which is going to be pretty rare, he's not the type of fighter who'll go to sleep for long periods, I see ISAAC moving forward, trying to pop him, and then moving out of danger. The middle rounds, it wouldn't surprise me if ISAAC came on quite strongly. So the first third of the fight, say, I think Nick will probably move to it'll be leading after say 4 rounds. I think after 8, it will be a lot closer, might even be even. I suspect that Nick after 8 rounds will probably still have maybe after 8 rounds, maybe a 5-3 advantage, might be even. And in the last third of the fight, I see the action really taking. I mean, it's going to be an exciting fight, I think, from the first third of the fight. The mid rounds are going to be great, but in the last third of the fight, I think it will be just a knockdown, drag 'em out row. And I see Nick, by far this is his biggest test, slinging salvos of punches at a tiring ISAAC. ISAAC won't quit. He'll keep firing back. He's going to clip Nick at points. I think Nick probably will be hurt at some point in this fight, but again, I don't think he's going to quit or anything of that description. I think any semblance of tactics, and let's be honest, I think this is going to be the type of fight, certainly in the last third, where they lock horns. Any tactics will go out the window, and we could see a lot of phone booth warfare from the middle rounds, but certainly with both guys having used up energy, although both guys do have very good engines, I think in the last 3 or 4 rounds, we're going to see a lot of punches exchanged up close. And even though there isn't really much difference in age, 29 for ISAAC DOGBE, 26 for Nick Ball, I think Nick's a bit fresher. I think he will have to walk through fire at periods. He might be shaken in certain rounds, might even get floored. But I think Nick will do enough in the last third of the fight to stamp a sort of 116, 112 victory over ISAAC DOGBE. Could he stop him late? Perfectly feasible. If he stops him late, I'd say it would be in the last 2 or 3 rounds, 9, 10, sort of 10, 11, 12. But I see Nick coming through a firestorm, a real baptism by fire, and beating ISAAC DOGBE. Is it possible ISAAC wins? Perfectly possible. Perfectly possible. He could catch Nick. He's got some good pop in his punches. I don't think either of them is a one-punch hitter by any means, but they're the type, if they do hit you cleanly, they can hurt you. I mean, to the point where a salvo of punches might put you over, or they can do enough damage for the referee to step in. But, so that's my, I lean towards points, but a very late stoppage for Nick is not out of the question. So I'm picking Nick Ball to win this fight. Again, as with the best fights, I don't say that with any confidence. They're the most difficult fights to predict are the ones that, they're probably the best matchups, and the most exciting fights. So have a look. Tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. Thank you for your support. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and please hit the like button and spread the word about Joe's Son of Boxing. It takes a second to hit that subscribe button. Do that for us. Much appreciated. And I will catch you later. Looking forward to reading your comments. Bye for now.